Viewer discretion is strongly advised. This is going to be a wild ride. Buckle up, because what I'm about to unpack is so jaw-dropping, it makes Interstellar look like a backyard barbecue. Picture this: a courtroom, tense as a tightrope, where the bailiff calls a name that stops hearts. Denzel Washington. Yeah, the Denzel. Not strutting onto a movie set, but stepping into the trial of Sean Diddy Combs with a truth bomb so big it could eclipse the sun. What he revealed. Oh, it's not just Hollywood secrets. It's a cosmic conspiracy involving spaceships, secret parties, and a mogul who thought he could outrun justice by blasting off into orbit. Ready to dive into the wildest celebrity scandal of the century? Let's go. This is the verbatim courtroom testimony from the Diddy trial, as reported by Inner City Press. And trust me, it's stranger than fiction. When Denzel walked to that stand, it wasn't just a moment, it was a seismic shift. The man who's played heroes, kings, and revolutionaries didn't come to flex his Oscars. He came to spill tea so scalding it could melt the internet, and boy, did he deliver. From Diddy's alleged plan to host zero-gravity freakoffs in space, to the chilling way he treated his own kids behind closed doors, Denzel's words turned a celebrity trial into a sci-fi horror show. So grab your popcorn, this is gonna be a roller coaster. Let's set the scene. It's 2025, and the courtroom's buzzing like a hive of bees on Red Bull. Diddy's trial is already a circus. Think The Wolf of Wall Street meets Law Order, with a dash of Black Mirror for good measure. Witnesses have dropped bombshells about secret tunnels, NDAs tighter than a Kardashian corset, and parties that make Vegas look like a church picnic. But nobody saw Denzel coming. When the bailiff said, "The prosecution calls Denzel Washington," the room didn't just go quiet, it froze. Jurors stopped blinking. Reporters' pens hovered mid-air. Even the judge looked like she'd just seen a UFO. And then, there he was, black suit, blue tie, a folded piece of paper in his hand, walking in like he's about to deliver the monologue of his life. Spoiler alert, he did. Denzel takes the stand, and you could hear a pin drop in a hurricane. He's not here for clout or drama. He's here because, in his words, "I couldn't live with myself if I didn't come." That's when you know it's about to get real. He starts slow, voice steady but heavy, like he's carrying a decade's worth of guilt. "I saw things, I heard things, and I stayed silent," he says, looking straight at the jury. "I thought if I kept my head down, I'd be safe. That's how this industry works." But then he drops the hammer. This isn't about revenge. It's about what happens when power goes unchecked. And if you think this trial is wild now, wait until you hear what Diddy was planning next. Cue the collective gasp. What could be crazier than the headlines we've already seen? Oh, just a little thing called space. Let's rewind to the early 2000s, when hip-hop and Hollywood were colliding like a supernova. Diddy wasn't just a music mogul anymore. He was a vibe, a brand, a force. He's rubbing elbows with A-list directors, studio execs, and agents who could make or break careers with a single phone call. Denzel paints the picture. Diddy's everywhere. VIP lounges, charity galas, exclusive retreats, always surrounded, always in control. He had a way of walking into a room and making people feel like the rules didn't apply to him, Denzel says, and you can almost see the smirk on Diddy's face. At first it's subtle, jokes about running the town or owning the narrative. But then, Denzel notices a shift. One night at a private dinner, Diddy leans in and says, "You know how to stay on top. You stop playing Earth's game." Denzel thought it was poetic flair. Turns out, it was a blueprint. Fast forward, and the whispers get louder, not from TMZ or gossip blogs, but from industry insiders. Artists pulling Denzel aside after too many drinks, muttering, "Diddy's throwing another party this weekend," then pausing like they're debating whether to spill the tea or swallow it. These weren't just parties, they were power plays. Denzel describes a mentality of invincibility, like Diddy believed he was untouchable. He started talking about legacy in strange ways, Denzel recalls. He said, "My empire will outlive gravity. I thought it was arrogance, but I started to worry. What kind of man says that and means it? Spoiler, the kind who's planning to take his empire to the stars." Here's where it gets nuts. Denzel drops the bomb that had the courtroom scribbling like their lives depended on it. Diddy wasn't just dreaming big, he was planning to launch a private space mission. Not to colonize Mars like Elon Musk, but to recreate his infamous freak-off parties in orbit, where Earth's laws couldn't touch him. Picture this, a spaceship that's half nightclub, half fortress, complete with LED floors, velvet seating, and soundproof chambers. Denzel says he saw the designs himself at a 2020 retreat in Nevada, where Diddy pulled him aside and showed him a laptop screen. He called it the Heaven Lounge, Denzel testifies, the first entertainment capsule in orbit. The court gasps like they're in a movie theater. Diddy allegedly bragged, They won't find us up there. No lawsuits, no cameras, just freedom. Freedom, more like a floating lawless playground. Denzel's voice doesn't waver as he describes Diddy's plan. A hand-picked crew of 10 men, loyal, discreet, and ready to party in zero gravity. He said it would be the first zero-gravity freakoff, Denzel recounts, and you can feel the courtroom's collective shudder. Diddy called it a floating sanctuary, a place where he could escape the chaos of lawsuits and headlines. But it wasn't just talk. Denzel says Diddy had investors, billionaires, tech moguls, names you'd only see in Forbes or when a satellite crashes. One of them, redacted from court records, was allegedly working with Diddy since 2021 to secure a launch site in South America, far from prying eyes. They called it a private celestial arts platform, but Denzel saw through the branding. It was a trap. The logistics were chillingly real. Denzel says a prototype existed in simulation software, shown to him by one of Diddy's tech backers. It looked less like a spaceship and more like a luxury jet with no windows, he testifies. All lights, couches, music, a club in the void, Diddy's guest list. A former NFL player, 2 disgraced music producers, a social media influencer, and an actor whose career tanked after a scandal. All had attended Diddy's parties, signed NDAs, and had reasons to vanish. Some didn't even know the full plan, Denzel says. They thought it was a billionaire's vacation, but Diddy wasn't planning to come back. He called it the no-return run. The courtroom's silent, but you can feel the weight of those words. No return, no accountability, just sin, floating in the stars. How close did this galactic getaway come to happening? Terrifyingly close. Denzel reveals it wasn't Diddy's conscience that stopped him. It was a whistleblower. A contractor for the aerospace company got spooked by the shuttle's specs, soundproof insulation, twilight mimicking lights, and a high-volume speaker system. You don't need that to study the stars, the contractor reportedly said. He tipped off a federal agency in late 2023, sparking a quiet investigation. By early 2024, authorities tracked Diddy's private jet to a covert launch site in Suriname. March 21st, 2025. That was the date, Denzel says, marked on an internal doc for the reawakening. Federal agents swooped in during a private walkthrough of the mock capsule, loaded with blackout curtains, exotic oils, oxygen tanks, and a case of imported stimulants. When they cuffed him, Diddy reportedly sneered, "You don't get to trap the future." Bold words for a man who almost turned a spaceship into a flying frat house. But the space plot wasn't even the darkest part. Denzel's testimony takes a gut-punch turn when he shifts to what he saw in Diddy's home. Specifically, how he treated his children. The courtroom, already reeling, goes ice cold. "I'm not here just because of what he did to grown men," Denzel says, voice steady but heavy. "I'm here because of what I saw him do to his children." Gasps ripple through the room. Diddy flinches. The judge calls for order, but nothing prepares you for this. Denzel recounts a 2016 lunch at Diddy's Beverly Hills estate, billed as a mentorship event for young black actors. Instead, it felt like a fortress of fear. He saw one of Diddy's sons, a teenager, being led upstairs by security, eyes puffy from crying. Minutes later, Denzel heard screaming, Diddy's voice booming, "You'll learn discipline in this house, or you'll disappear like the rest." The words hit like a sledgehammer. Denzel says he froze, unsure whether to intervene. Later, he asked the boy if he was okay. The kid whispered, "It's just how he shows love. It's normal." Normal? Denzel's voice cracks. "I've seen military generals discipline their kids with more grace. What I saw wasn't correction, it was domination." It gets worse. Denzel says insiders told him Diddy's kids were often treated like staff at his parties, fetching drinks, escorting guests, staying silent unless spoken to. "You raise a child in fear long enough," Denzel says, "they don't grow, they shrink." He tried confronting Diddy in 2018, but got a chilling response. "You raise lions by throwing them to the wolves." A juror wipes away tears. The judge calls a recess, but Denzel pushes on. "We finish this now," he says, and you can feel the weight of his resolve. This isn't just about a mogul's crimes, it's about a man who ruled his home like a tyrant, leaving scars that might never heal. Denzel's not done. He turns the lens on himself and it's raw. "I should have spoken up sooner," he admits, voice barely above a whisper. "I saw the fear,